You, Janine. That was a cracking open and helps explain exactly why you're #1 every weekend. That was terrific stuff.
Thank you, Mark. You know, I think the thing that is so frustrating to me as someone who was in law enforcement for over 3 decades is that, you know, we live in a world of television where the answers are a few seconds long and then you have to move to the next question. I just want my viewers to understand this is such hogwash and it's so frustrating. And my worry, and maybe it's yours, is that there will be no consequences. What do you think?
I think there will be consequences. You know, whatever it was a week ago, the Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein told President Trump, "You're not a target of the investigation." If I'd been the president, I'd have replied to him, "No, you got that right. You guys are. It's actually the Department of Justice and the FBI and a tight little coterie, including other key figures in the intelligence agencies like Clapper and Brennan, who are at issue here. And they are all in severe legal peril. And Comey in particular has a credibility issue. He organizes a meeting with the president-elect for the purpose of telling him a lot of hooey about hookers in Moscow. And then he claims to Bret Baier that he had no idea about the provenance of this dossier. He doesn't know who paid for it or anything like that. He's the head of the most lavishly funded investigative agency on the planet, but he knows nothing. He's a Boy Scout. He hasn't a clue about any of it.
And you know, Mark,
you know as well as I do, if he was on the witness stand in a courtroom before you, what a jury would make of that guy's credibility.
And you know, to say he didn't know who paid for it when he basically affirmed it 4 times every time it went to the FISA court, and he says he didn't know from whence it came, and he won't admit, as his deputy did, that it was the main piece of the application of the FISA, the main piece of the request for the FISA warrant. He says it was part of a mosaic. You know, I felt like I was in La La Land. But listen, I want to talk now for a moment about the president. And there's a sound I want you to hear. Take a listen.
You watch Comey, and you watch the way he lies. And then he's got the memos. I wonder when he wrote the memos, right? Then he's got the memos, and he puts them up. Watch the way he lies. It's the most incredible thing. Do you remember John Lovitz? Do you remember? The liar. Well, Comey's worse. Comey's a liar and a leaker.
A liar and a leaker. You remember John Lovitz, the guy from Saturday Night Live? And it was called, I think, The Liar.
Right, that's right, that's right. It was a terrific segment. You know, this is the president in his element, though, and this is why tone is important, and this is what a lot of Trump critics, both on the left and right, Republicans and Democrats, miss, is that the base has been longing for years about somebody who punches back. George W. Bush, in the early part of this century, took the high road. Democrats trashed him. You had Democratic senators comparing what he was doing in Iraq to the behavior of Nazis. And George W. Bush took the high road and said nothing. And the Republican base has wanted for years a spokesman who smashes back. And that's important. And for that very reason, the base will stick with him, because he doesn't play on the left's terms.
Well, you know, Mark, very well said. Mark Stein.